There aren't many times where I look at someone's film and ask myself, what in the world did I just witness? But the guy in today's video is the perfect example of when speed kills. He's not the biggest guy on any field he steps on, but 10 times out of 10, he is the fastest. We often hear stories about guys with all the talent in the world who do crazy things just to mess it up, or players who are athletically gifted and act like they are better than everyone else. Rarely do we hear about people who stumbled, didn't complain, and got back onto the mission. He makes his competition look terrible. And guess what? He's likely going to an HBCU. It's out of the SWAC blue blood, Grambling, or the likely SWAC champion next season, FAMU. Who is the guy? Is he any good? And where do I see him ending up? This is the story of yet another trailblazer who is out to bring black colleges back to prominence. This is the story of Dejan Boogie Richard. Richard is a 5'11", 206-pound athlete from Patterson, Louisiana, where he attended Patterson High School. He did everything for the Lumberjacks, played quarterback, running back, and even receiver. I wasn't able to find his stats, but his tape is crazy. If you give this guy even a little bit of daylight, you might as well put 6 on the board. So much so that they talked about him in his local newspaper. They talked about him running one of the fastest 40 times in the country, clocking a blazing 4.340. He ran this during the summer, and that's when the scouts started really paying attention to him. He said this during an interview, quote, "They really were shocked, and I was shocked too, but I just played it off. I put all of the hard work in the weight room, in the classroom, and some of the other stuff that I've been through off the field into that run. I did it for my family. I've always wanted to get a football or athletic scholarship, so my parents didn't have to pay. They'd done enough," end quote. That was a mature way of thinking for such a young guy, especially at that time. He had one of the most unique stat lines I've seen in a while. As a junior, he completed 24 passes for 447 yards and 5 touchdowns. He rushed for 1,143 yards with 10 touchdowns and caught 19 passes for 563 yards and 6 touchdowns. Coming out of high school, he had 11 scholarship offers: Tulane, Southern, Kansas, Jackson State, UTSA, and South Alabama, just to name a few. He was even committed to Southern University for a while, but ultimately, he ended up committed to South Alabama and enrolled in October of 2019. Things didn't go as expected. He decided to go Juco. If you know anything about college sports, Juco is not an easy route. Everybody down there is a dog. D1 bounce backs, guys who are overlooked, and even troublemakers. You name it, and they're there. Many of the athletes that went that route say they were some of the darkest days, but they made them into stronger men. Richard shares these same thoughts. If you are familiar with hip hop, then you've probably heard of the rapper 2 Chainz. In one of his songs, he repeatedly asks, "Who do I do it for?" In Boogie's case, it's his family. He writes LL on many of his cleats. That stands for long live, by the way, which gives him the extra reason to strive for another yard. He is extremely close with his family, and athleticism just runs in his genetics. Just a few months ago, his cousin, who plays basketball overseas, dropped 40 points in a game, and he said this about it: "What's my last name? No chill," end quote. At Hines Community College, Richard was determined to show that he was still that guy. Sidebar, hey man, these websites, especially Jucos, need to do better when it comes to recording stats. Finding them sometimes is like pulling teeth. Alright, back to the story. From the little bit of info that I could find, he excelled at Juco as well. Through his first 3 games, he averaged 93 yards on 5.4 yards per attempt. His breakout performance came when he rushed 18 times for 149 yards with 2 touchdowns. His Juco achievements were good enough for him to garner attention from FBS programs, where he ultimately ended up committing to Southern Miss, located in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. During his first season with the Golden Eagles, he split time in the backfield with Frank Gore Jr., son of legendary and longtime NFL running back Frank Gore. Gore received a bulk of the carries, rushing for 841 yards with 5 touchdowns. Richard rushed for 468 yards and 2 touchdowns. His time on the field dwindled his second season, possibly due to an influx of talent. The team was not good either year, so with the lack of playing time and the repeated losing, Dejan decided to hit the portal. He currently has offers from Murray State, Grambling, FAMU, Texas Southern, Prairie View, UT Martin, and Norfolk State, just to name a few. FAMU finished dead last in rushing last season in the SWAC, averaging less than 100 yards a game, with only 10 touchdowns on the ground. So that may be a good spot for him to have an immediate impact. Personally, I think he could be a home run hitter to help FAMU get to the top of the SWAC next season. The top dog spot is free game, since everything but Stamps and the potholes are leaving Jacktown. On the flip side, he may want to stay close to home and attend Grambling. I don't think that would be the best idea for him though. I'm sure he isn't afraid of competition, but that running back room is loaded. With Maurice Washington and Chalk Floyd returning next season, they would already have a leg up on him, simply because they performed well last year and they are more familiar with the system that Coach Hugh Jackson likes to run. I mentioned those two schools specifically because he's considering them heavily. He already had an in-house visit with FAMU coaches that, according to him, went great. And he has an upcoming visit with Grambling State on the 16th of this month. Hey Boogie, the choice is yours. But like I said before, man, I see you best fitting in at FAMU. I'm sure your ultimate goal is to make it to the league. And at FAMU, that's possible. Just look at recent graduate Marquise Bell on the Dallas Cowboys. That list may grow even bigger after the 2023 draft, with players Xavier Smith and BJ Bowler declaring. The SWAC is on fire right now. James Houston, who graduated from Jackson State, is accomplishing more than anyone would have ever imagined. And he has earned a starting spot on the Lions. Come on down to the SWAC, Boogie. I'm looking forward to watching you next season, no matter where you end up. Thanks for watching the video. If you made it to the end, type in Boogie in the comment section. I want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this entire situation? If you are a fan of either one of those schools, would you like this guy to be a part of your program? I already told y'all I best see him fitting in at FAMU, but talk to me in the comments. With 2 years left of eligibility, where do you see him having the best chance to succeed? As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.